Imagine if every excuse you've ever used simply expired in 2026. No more someday, no more when things calm down. Because in ancient Chinese wisdom, this is not a neutral year. It's the kind of year warriors would choose to strike and visionaries would choose to finally act. In the Chinese Zodiac, 2026 is the year of the fire horse, a symbol of explosive movement, burning courage, and dangerous momentum. If there is a year to stop negotiating with your fears and actually move, this is it. Welcome to Eternal Philosophies. In this video, you're going to understand what the Chinese Zodiac really is, how the 12 animals and the 5 elements form a kind of cosmic code, and above all, what it truly means to live in a year of the fire horse, for the world, and for your own inner life. Stay until the end, and use this symbol as a philosophical mirror for your next year. The Chinese New Year, 17th of February of 2026. The Chinese New Year is very different from the New Year in the West. It doesn't simply begin at midnight on January 1st. It follows the rhythm of the moon, not just a number on a calendar. Because of that, the date shifts every year, usually falling between late January and mid-February. But the most fascinating part is this. Every year is not just 2026 or 2027. Each year is born with a kind of symbolic soul, the combination of an animal and an element. In 2026, that combination is the horse with the element fire, the fire horse. How the 12 animals were chosen, the great race. To understand the animals, picture this ancient story. The Jade Emperor, a celestial ruler, decided to measure the nature of living beings through a grand race. He invited all animals and promised, the first 12 to arrive will each rule over a year, one after another. The clever rat used its intelligence, rode quietly on the ox's back, and jumped ahead at the last second. The ox arrived right after, strong and steady. Then came the fierce tiger, the quick but gentle rabbit, the majestic dragon, the mysterious snake, the restless horse, the sensitive goat, the playful monkey, the proud rooster, the loyal dog, and finally, the generous pig. That is how the 12-year cycle was formed. Rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, pig. Each animal represents a way of thinking, a style of courage, a typical pattern of fear and desire. When you are born in one of these years, you are marked by that archetype. And when the whole world enters one of these years, the symbolic climate shifts for everyone. The Zodiac is a map of the psyche. Instead of seeing the Chinese Zodiac as cheap fortune-telling, you can see it as a map of the human psyche. The rat is strategic intelligence. The ox is patience and hard work. The tiger is raw courage that doesn't ask for permission. The rabbit is diplomacy and sensitivity. The dragon is the drive for greatness. The snake is quiet intuition and depth. The horse is the hunger for freedom. The goat is art and empathy. The monkey is playful creativity. The rooster is discipline and organization. The dog is loyalty and a strong sense of justice. The pig is generosity and the enjoyment of life. The year we are in immerses all of us in some way in that collective archetype. The 5 elements, invisible energies. But the Chinese didn't stop at animals. They noticed that reality is not made only of forms, but of movements of energy. And they described those movements as the 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Wood is everything that grows, expands, and begins. Fire is what heats, excites, and makes things visible. Earth is what sustains, nourishes, and stabilizes. Metal is what defines boundaries, structures, and cuts away excess. Water is what feels, flows, and remembers. Every year is a combination of one animal and one element. That's why it's not just the year of the horse. It is the year of the fire horse, a horse crossing the year with its mane on fire. The horse, movement and freedom. So what is the horse exactly? In Chinese culture, the horse is the spirit that refuses to be caged. It is the body in motion, the open road. the decision not to stay stuck. The horse symbolizes speed and action, the refusal to stagnate. It is the energy of someone who would rather try and fail than stay safe and unmoving. It is sociable, charismatic, sometimes dramatic, but almost never indifferent. A horse year is often seen as a time of greater dynamism and faster changes, a time with less patience for bureaucracy and more urgency to live, travel, create, and move. Some years call for slow reflection. A horse year calls for the road, for risk, for movement. When fire rides the horse. Now imagine setting fire on top of all that. In Chinese thought, fire is passion, intensity, and brilliance. It is what makes us want to be seen, to love fiercely, to fight for something, and sometimes to go too far. Joined with the horse, fire creates the archetype of the fire horse, a horse running at maximum speed, guided by a heart in flames. What does that mean? First, emotional intensity. Choices may be made with more enthusiasm, more courage, and sometimes with less braking distance. Second, amplified courage. Years of the fire horse are seen as times when people feel more driven to take risks, change direction, start bold projects, and break old patterns. Third, protagonism. This combination loves leadership, visibility, and impact. It is the energy of someone who no longer wants to be a spectator in their own life. But every fire has a shadow. The same impulse that inspires can also burn. Impulsiveness, conflicts that flare up quickly, decisions made too fast that later demand a price. 2026 is a fire horse year. So what does all this say about 2026? Symbolically, it suggests a year of strong movement. Situations that were stuck for a long time may suddenly begin to shift. Old projects gathering dust in a drawer might come back with force. Dreams that felt distant may start demanding immediate action. It is a year that favors those who are willing to take conscious risks, who are ready to change city, career, relationship, or at least change their mindset. But it is also a dangerous year for those who decide everything in the heat of the moment, who confuse impulse with intuition or movement with purpose. From a philosophical perspective, the year of the fire horse seems to ask a very direct question. Are you going to keep living on autopilot, or are you going to mount this horse and consciously choose the direction of your run? Turning symbol into self-inquiry. The real beauty of Chinese astrology is not about predicting exactly what will happen. It is about giving us a symbolic language to look inward. Instead of asking, "What will this year do to me?" the deeper questions are, where in my life do I need more movement? Which decision have I been postponing for years, pretending it is prudence, when, deep down, it is fear? Am I using my inner fire to create, or to sabotage myself, argue, and explode? What would it mean for me to live with more freedom without throwing responsibility away? When you look at 2026 as a year of the fire horse, you are not simply reading a horoscope. You are looking at a mirror. When someone tells you 2026 is the year of the fire horse, remember, it's not superstition, it's a symbol. Horse means movement and courage. Fire means passion and transformation. Together they say, stop standing still. Mount the horse, ignite the fire within, and run toward the life you know you should be living. If this video shifted your view on the Chinese New Year and the fire horse, leave a like, subscribe to Eternal Philosophies, and share it with someone who needs that push to move.